And Oscar goes to Ron Howard.
I love all kinds of movies, all kinds of stories, really, and I always have, and that's taken me on some fantastic.
Over the top? No, we had no over the top rules. We were totally reasonable, thoughtful parents who made solid decisions at every turn.
You think you know Ron Howard, the Hollywood legend and box office king. But what if everything you see is just the surface? At 71, the man behind the hits has faced heartbreak and struggles almost no one knows about. What really happened behind the scenes of his successful career?
Boy, that was a difficult, heartbreaking time and thing to witness, and it was terrifying, and I wasn't sure Clint was gonna make it out, and yeah.
Join us as we unveil the heartbreaking experiences the Imagine Entertainment director has endured throughout his life. The struggles beyond the spotlight. At 71, Ron Howard's success story is as brilliant as it is bittersweet. Famous for being known as Hollywood's nicest man, a two-time Academy Award-winning director, and co-founder of Imagine Entertainment, Howard's career is filled with triumphs. However, being among the most celebrated artists today doesn't shield people from heartbreak, as Ron's life shows. Despite his success, Ron still carries hidden tragedies, particularly those involving his younger brother, Clint Howard. Clint's battle with addiction cast a long shadow over the family. During that period, Clint struggled with both alcohol and drugs until it became alarming. The popular misconception was that his addiction wasn't tied to a turbulent childhood. However, Clint revealed that it was an attempt to flee from his own reality. The loss of their father added more sadness to the reality he was trying to escape. Over the years, he has spent significant time in recovery, witnessing the harsh grip of addiction on countless lives. Today, he proudly says he has reconnected with the version of himself who didn't need a drink, a toke, or a hit to make it through the day. Through it all, Ron was an older brother in every sense. As good as he is as a director, Ron is an even greater older brother, Clint said. Ron supported him through the darkest periods, attending AA meetings alongside him and offering guidance rooted in love and honesty. Thinking back to those moments, Ron explained that as Clint got worse, he knew they couldn't rationalize his drug use as recreational. It is one thing to use drugs and another to let drugs use you. Beyond the pain of his brother's battle with drugs, Ron faced his own heartbreaking trials as a director. Moments so crushing they nearly derailed his career before it even began. Before Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, or Frost, Nixon, Howard was a young actor on Happy Days, desperate to prove he could be more than a wholesome TV star. His first directing opportunity came with 1977's Grand Theft Auto, courtesy of Roger Corman, the low-budget film legend famous for giving novices a chance and crushing them in the process. Roger was notorious for penny-pinching and unilateral creative decisions. What Howard envisioned as a grounded, witty comedy was twisted into something he later called Wile E. Coyote shit. After the first test screening, the audience, handpicked by Roger, mostly elderly women, didn't respond as hoped. Roger demanded more zaniness. He added 2 scenes, a car crashing into a pool and a chase where hillbillies hurled dynamite at the leads. Howard, only 23, was floored. He had spent months crafting a story that felt real, and now his name was attached to cartoonish chaos. He considered removing it, refusing to promote the film, and walking away from the dream he had chased his whole life. Fortunately, the experience didn't break him, but it planted the seeds of a lifelong tension, the battle between artistic vision and the demands of industry. That struggle never fully left him. Over the decades, Howard has delivered masterpieces, from the sweeping triumph of Apollo 13 to the emotional depth of A Beautiful Mind. Yet, even now, at 71, one senses the quiet ache beneath the accolades. The rage he felt at having his first film altered without consent, The anger, the helplessness, the brief urge to erase his own name never entirely vanishes. Hollywood rewarded him with fame, and accolades couldn't shield him from criticism or the weight of public opinion. A reality he faced once again with Hillbilly Elegy. Which brings us to a surprising question. Should the director of Hillbilly Elegy go to jail? Another traumatic experience. Some people online think Ron Howard should be in jail. Why? He directed Hillbilly Elegy, the Netflix adaptation of J.D. Vance's memoir about growing up in Appalachia, a book that critics called manipulative and politically loaded. On Twitter, a surprising number of voices demanded that Howard pay for this crime. Some even joked about public tribunals. Their reasoning? The book's author, J.D. Vance, is now a U.S. Senator. The argument isn't logical, but in the hyper-partisan social media climate, Howard became a stand-in for cultural outrage. One tweet said bluntly, "Ron Howard will pay for this." To be clear, Howard isn't a criminal. He publicly defended the film, explaining that he saw it as a family drama with themes that could resonate universally. He said it was culturally specific, but relatable, aiming to bridge understanding. "I hope it feels authentic to the region, and that people see how much we have in common," he told CBS. The response? Not great. Critics widely panned the movie, calling it clumsy, overly sentimental, and politically awkward. But here's the thing. Ron Howard is not responsible for J.D. Vance winning a Senate seat. That's the voters' choice, not a filmmaker's crime. Twitter outrage aside, Howard's career proves he's contributed far more to culture than any online mob could claim. Yet the Internet Tribunal marches on. Some argue that Howard should pay for his crimes because the author he adapted became a politician. The outrage isn't ironic. Some genuinely believe he has done something wrong. Forgetting that Howard's own political involvement is mild, these critics paint him as a villain for cultural reasons by posting about Social Security, voter turnout, or election concerns. Meanwhile, Scott Baio, the other former Happy Days star, aligns openly with a political party, but Howard's thoughtful, moderate commentary gets twisted into guilt by association. So no, Ron Howard will never go to jail. Yet, with his name constantly under scrutiny, many wonder how he continues to push forward in the entertainment industry, a minor thorn in his pathway. Ron Howard was born in Duncan, Oklahoma, as the older of two sons to Rance Howard, a director and actor, and Jean Spiegel, an actress. From a young age, Ron was introduced to acting and the negative impact that is linked with it. Ron began acting in front of the camera almost as soon as he could walk. His first credited role came in the 1959 movie The Journey, and he soon appeared in popular TV shows such as The DuPont Show with June Allison, The Twilight Zone, and Dennis the Menace. He even had small roles in The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis and Cheyenne. These early performances honed his skills and exposed him to the inner workings of Hollywood at a very young age. Howard's big break came in 1960 when he was cast as Opie Taylor in The Andy Griffith Show. Credited as Ronnie Howard, he played the son of the main character, Andy Griffith, for all 8 seasons of the show. The series, famous for its warm, wholesome charm, felt timeless even as it aired in the 1960s. It also starred Don Knotts, Francis Bavier, and Jim Nabors, earning several Emmy nominations during its run. Howard recalled the experience fondly, remembering the relaxed atmosphere on set and the lessons he learned from working alongside seasoned actors. In the 1970s, he landed another iconic role as Richie Cunningham in Happy Days. Initially appearing in a segment of Love, American Style, his character became the heart of the new sitcom. Richie was the good boy in contrast to Henry Winkler's rebellious Fonzie, and their on-screen and off-screen chemistry was undeniable. Howard's portrayal captured audiences, making him a household name. He stayed with the show until 1980, leaving to pursue directing, though he returned for guest appearances in later seasons. These early roles shaped Ron Howard's understanding of storytelling, character development, and the collaborative process of filmmaking. Growing up on set taught him discipline, patience, and how to observe the craft from behind the camera. These lessons later informed his successful transition into one of Hollywood's most respected directors, with a career spanning decades and encompassing everything from dramas to blockbusters. This shows why the weight of criticism had nothing on Ron and would never chase him out of an industry he was born into. But the most pressing question is, how did he become one of the most successful actors from a mere child star? The child star who wouldn't settle. Ron's journey to becoming a successful entertainer depended on his resilience. After his breakthrough on The Andy Griffith Show, Ron Howard quickly became one of Hollywood's most recognizable child actors. In 1962, he landed the role of Winthrop Peru in the film The Music Man. Playing the sweet, lisping child, Howard held his own alongside stars Robert Preston, Shirley Jones, and Buddy Hackett. The movie, based on Meredith Willson's 1957 Broadway musical and directed by Morton DaCosta, was both a critical and commercial hit, finishing as the third highest-grossing film of the year and earning 6 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. Ron continued to build a strong film and television resume throughout the 1960s. He appeared in The Courtship of Eddie's Father, alongside Glenn Ford and Shirley Jones, showcasing his talent in more dramatic roles. On television, he guest-starred in a variety of shows, playing everything from Tommy in the Big Valley to Barry Stewart in The 11th Hour. He appeared in I Spy, The Smith Family, and Land of the Giants, and even took on a dramatic role as a boy coping with tragedy on Daniel Boone. In 1973, Howard delivered a memorable performance as an underage Marine in a powerful episode of MASH, titled Sometimes You Hear the Bullet. Howard also lent his voice to Disney. In 1969, he starred as Mike on the Disneyland Records album The Story and Song from the Haunted Mansion, telling the story of 2 teenagers trapped inside the spooky mansion. The album featured the voices of Roby Lester, Thurl Ravenscroft, Pete Renaday, and Eleanor Audley. Though some ideas for the attraction were never fully realized, such as the Raven in the Stretching Room and the Hatbox Ghost, the recording became a classic, reissued in 1998 as A Spooky Night in Disney's Haunted Mansion and again on CD in 2009. The 1970s brought Howard even greater recognition with George Lucas's American Graffiti. Playing Steve Bolander, Howard starred alongside Richard Dreyfuss, Charles Martin Smith, and Harrison Ford in a nostalgic look at teenage life in the early 1960s. The film was praised for its authentic portrayal of youth, with critic Roger Ebert calling it a brilliant work of historical fiction that captured the era's mood perfectly. The movie's success even inspired the hit TV sitcom Happy Days, in which Howard later played Richie Cunningham. He reprised his role as Steve in the 1979 sequel More American Graffiti, further cementing his place in Hollywood. Ron continued to appear in high-profile television and film projects. In 1974, he guest-starred on The Waltons as Seth Turner, Jason Walton's best friend. His father, Rance Howard, also appeared in the episode as Dr. McIvers, showing the family's ongoing connection to acting. In 1976, Howard shared the screen with legends John Wayne and Lauren Bacall in The Shootist, the story of a dying gunfighter and Wayne's final film role. Beyond acting, Howard became known for his voice work. Most famously, he served as the narrator for the television comedy Arrested Development, adding a signature touch to the show's storytelling. He also made cameo appearances throughout later seasons, bringing a full-circle connection from child star to veteran Hollywood presence. let's explore his transition into acting. From TV star to Hollywood director. Even while he was still a beloved TV actor, Ron Howard was quietly building a path behind the camera. Before leaving Happy Days in 1980, he made his directorial debut with the low-budget comedy action film Grand Theft Auto. Howard co-wrote the script with his father, Rance, and directed the project after striking a deal with legendary producer Roger Corman. In exchange for directing, Howard starred in Corman's film Eat My Dust, alongside Christopher Norris. This early experience gave Howard valuable hands-on insight into filmmaking, showing him the ropes of directing while still a rising actor. Between 1978 and 1982, Howard directed several made-for-TV movies for NBC, including Skyward, starring Bette Davis. But his first real breakthrough in feature films came in 1982 with Night Shift, a comedy starring Michael Keaton, Shelley Long, and Henry Winkler, Howard's former co-star on Happy Days. The film's success opened doors for him in Hollywood and established him as a talented director who could balance humor with heartfelt storytelling. Following Night Shift, Howard built an impressive early career with hits throughout the 1980s. In 1984, he directed the romantic fantasy comedy Splash, starring Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah, Eugene Levy, and John Candy. The movie was both a box office and critical success, showcasing Howard's ability to blend romance, comedy, and fantasy in a way that appealed to audiences of all ages. He followed this with Cocoon in 1985, a science fiction drama featuring Donna Meche, Hume Cronin, Wilford Brimley, and Brian Dennehy. Cocoon was another major hit, earning praise from critics and viewers alike, and winning a Best Supporting Actor award for Donna Meche. Howard also collaborated with George Lucas again in 1988 for Willow, a high fantasy adventure starring Val Kilmer and Warwick Davis. The film cemented his reputation as a director capable of handling large-scale imaginative projects. He ended the decade with Parenthood, a family comedy drama boasting a star-studded ensemble, including Steve Martin, Tom Hulce, Rick Moranis, Martha Plimpton, Joaquin Phoenix, Keanu Reeves, Jason Robards, Mary Steenburgen, and Diane Wiest. The film opened at #1 at the box office, eventually grossing over $100 million domestically. Critics loved it, and it earned 2 Academy Award nominations, proving Howard could successfully direct both intimate family stories and major commercial films. Howard's momentum carried into the 1990s with a string of diverse and high-profile projects. He directed the thriller Backdraft, a gripping story about firefighters starring Kurt Russell, Donald Sutherland, and Robert De Niro. Critics Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert praised the film for its intense action and strong performances. In 1992, he tackled the epic Western Fair and Away, starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. While reviews were mixed, the film performed well financially, earning $137 million against a $60 million budget. In 1994, Howard directed The Paper, a comedy drama set in the world of newspapers. The ensemble cast included Michael Keaton, Glenn Close, Marisa Tomei, Jason Alexander, Jason Robards, and Robert Duvall. The film was highly praised, with many highlighting Keaton's standout performance. Through these projects, Howard established a reputation as a versatile director who could handle comedy, drama, action, and fantasy alike, always blending character-driven storytelling with technical skill. By the end of the 1980s and into the 1990s, Ron Howard had made the transition from TV star to accomplished director, demonstrating not just his understanding of actors and storytelling, but also his ability to guide major productions to success. His early career set the stage for the blockbuster films and award-winning projects that would define the next decades of his filmmaking journey. Building on the momentum of his early successes, Howard was ready to take on projects that demanded both technical precision and emotional depth. Could he turn these ambitious visions into box office and critical triumphs? Master of storytelling on the big screen. By the mid-1990s, Ron Howard had firmly established himself as a top director, and his next project would cement his reputation. In 1995, he directed Apollo 13, a docudrama chronicling the near-disastrous space mission. Starring Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton as the astronauts, with strong support from Gary Sinise, Ed Harris, and Kathleen Quinlan, the film was a hit with both audiences and critics. It earned $335 million on a $52 million budget and received 9 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. Critics praised Howard's skill at blending technical precision with human emotion. Roger Ebert called it a powerful story, one of the year's best films, told with great clarity and remarkable technical detail, and acted without pumped-up histrionics. Howard followed this success with How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 2000. The live-action adaptation of the Dr. Seuss classic starred Jim Carrey in the iconic green role, supported by Jeffrey Tambor, Christine Baranski, and Molly Shannon, with Anthony Hopkins narrating. While critics were mixed, audiences flocked to see it, and the film grossed $345 million worldwide, proving Howard could handle family-friendly fantasy just as well as tense dramas. In 2001, Howard directed A Beautiful Mind, the biographical drama of mathematician John Nash Jr., played by Russell Crowe. Nash struggled with paranoid schizophrenia, and the film explored both his genius and personal challenges. Jennifer Connelly, Ed Harris, Josh Lucas, and Christopher Plummer delivered strong supporting performances. The film received critical acclaim, winning 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Howard earned a Best Director Oscar, cementing his status as one of Hollywood's most versatile filmmakers. Howard continued exploring real-life stories with Cinderella Man in 2005, a sports drama about heavyweight boxing champion James J. Braddock. Russell Crowe starred as Braddock, with Renee Zellweger as his wife and Paul Giamatti as his trainer. Critics praised the film for its authenticity and emotional impact, with Rotten Tomatoes giving it an 80% approval rating. It reinforced Howard's skill in crafting underdog stories that resonate deeply with viewers. Howard also tackled thrillers and adaptations, directing the Robert Langdon series, beginning with The Da Vinci Code in 2006, followed by Angels and Demons in 2009, and Inferno in 2016, all starring Tom Hanks. While critics were mixed, the films were popular with audiences, blending mystery, suspense, and historical intrigue in Howard's trademark accessible style. In 2008, Howard premiered Frost Nixon, a historical drama based on the famous interviews between Richard Nixon and British talk show host David Frost. Michael Sheen portrayed Frost, and Frank Langella took on Nixon. The film adapted Peter Morgan's play and featured Matthew Macfadyen, Sam Rockwell, Rebecca Hall, Oliver Platt, Toby Jones, and Kevin Bacon in supporting roles. While it didn't have a major box office impact, critics praised the performances and Howard's direction. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 93% approval rating, and Metacritic scored it 80 out of 100. The Guardian called it a riveting film, sharper, more intense than the play. Howard earned another Best Director nomination at the Academy Awards and was honored with the Austin Film Festival's Extraordinary Contribution to Filmmaking Award in 2009, presented by Michael Keaton. Never one to settle, Ron moved on to the next big thing. What was the next phase of his life? Mastering modern stories and big challenges. Even decades into his career, Ron Howard continues to prove himself as a director capable of tackling a wide range of stories. In 2013, he directed Rush, a sports drama about the intense rivalry between Formula One drivers James Hunt and Niki Lauda during the 1976 racing season. The film starred Chris Hemsworth as Hunt, Daniel Bruhl as Lauda, and Olivia Wilde as Hunt's wife, Susie Miller. Written by Peter Morgan, Rush captured the high-speed drama of racing and the personal tensions behind the scenes. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival and was praised for its thrilling race sequences, character depth, and Howard's skillful direction, earning strong reviews from critics. 2 years later, Howard took on a very different challenge with In the Heart of the Sea, a historical adventure about the sinking of the American whaling ship Essex in 1820, the disaster that inspired Herman Melville's Moby Dick. The film featured Chris Hemsworth, Cillian Murphy, Tom Holland, Ben Whishaw, and Brendan Gleeson. Despite Howard's careful attention to historical detail and dramatic storytelling, the film struggled at the box office and received mixed reviews. Nevertheless, it demonstrated his commitment to ambitious projects that blend history and human struggle. Howard's versatility continued in 2018 when he stepped in to direct Solo, a Star Wars story. The film explores the early life of Han Solo, one of cinema's most beloved characters. Howard replaced directors Phil Lord and Christopher Miller late in the production, with only a few weeks of filming left and several reshoots planned. Despite the challenges, he embraced the opportunity, tweeting his excitement about contributing to the Star Wars universe, having been a fan since the franchise's first release in 1977. The film allowed Howard to apply his steady hand to a high-profile, high-pressure franchise while honoring the story's existing vision. In November 2017, Howard expanded his career into teaching, announcing his first directing class and sharing decades of experience with a new generation of filmmakers. Howard's next major project was Hillbilly Elegy, released on Netflix in late 2020. The film, adapted from J.D. Vance's memoir about growing up in a struggling Appalachian family, starred Glenn Close and Amy Adams. While the film received largely negative reviews, it showcased Howard's continued interest in telling character-driven stories that explore family, resilience, and personal struggle. In 2021, Howard turned to real-life survival drama with 13 Lives, based on the 2018 Tam Luang Cave rescue in Thailand. The film follows the incredible efforts to save 12 boys and their soccer coach trapped in a flooded cave. Released in select theaters in 2022 and later streaming on Prime Video, the film was met with generally positive reviews, with critics praising Howard's careful attention to tension, detail, and the emotional stakes of the true story. Looking forward, Howard is venturing into new territory with his first animated feature, The Shrinking of Treehorn, which Netflix acquired from Paramount Pictures. He is also attached to direct Eden, a survival thriller starring Jude Law and Ana de Armas. These projects show that even after decades in Hollywood, Howard remains willing to explore new genres, formats, and storytelling challenges, constantly expanding his legacy while staying true to his strengths: clear, engaging narratives, and deep respect for his characters. From adrenaline-fueled racing dramas to historical epics, heartfelt memoirs, and survival stories, Ron Howard continues to demonstrate why he is one of the most versatile and enduring directors of modern cinema. His ability to handle complex productions, adapt to unexpected challenges, and tell compelling stories keeps audiences eagerly anticipating his next project. But how does he manage to balance directing while shaping some of Hollywood's most compelling stories behind the scenes? Building stories behind the scenes. Beyond his work as a director, Ron Howard is a powerhouse in film and television production. He co-chairs Imagine Entertainment alongside longtime collaborator Brian Grazer. Together, they've built a company known for producing compelling, sometimes provocative projects, across both movies and TV. Ron Howard and Brian Grazer officially teamed up in 1985 after scoring back-to-back hits with Night Shift and Splash. Riding that momentum, they decided to start a production company, but struggled to find the right name. Their first idea was If, a nod to the what-if questions that spark their stories. Investors rejected it, saying a publicly traded company needed an exclamation mark, not a question mark. They eventually chose the name Imagine, a word that captured the creative curiosity driving their work. Imagine Entertainment went on to produce a wide mix of films and television shows, including Apollo 13, Willow, A Beautiful Mind, American Gangster, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Friday Night Lights, and 24. The company's projects often take audiences into worlds far removed from everyday life, yet grounded in relatable characters. Howard says their goal is always to help the audience understand the emotional core of an idea and connect with it. Howard and Grazer couldn't be more different in personality. Howard is calm and folksy, while Grazer is energetic and intense. But their partnership works because they share taste, work ethic, honesty, and trust. They don't yell or fight. They discuss disagreements openly. If one dislikes an idea, but the other is passionate about it, neither person sabotages the project. That approach allowed them to deliver hits even when they didn't fully agree. Howard didn't initially understand 8 Mile, and Grazer didn't immediately get Rush, but both films succeeded. Imagine has faced failures, including the recent or Me Too-focused drama After the Hunt, which struggled at the box office. Even so, the company has stayed relevant by adapting. It now includes documentary and branded content divisions, and it works with Amazon, MGM Studios, Apple, and Netflix. Imagine currently has 5 films in production, including Whale Fall, How to Rob a Bank, and Spaceballs 2. On the TV side, the company plans reboots of Friday Night Lights and 24, as well as new projects like Wild Things. Howard recently returned to comedy with an Emmy-nominated guest role on The Studio. He is also directing Alone at Dawn, a film about Navy SEAL John Chapman's Medal of Honor story, starring Adam Driver and Anne Hathaway. Howard says the movie is new territory because it blends combat action with investigative elements. Both men acknowledge that Hollywood is changing fast. Streaming has altered the theatrical landscape, and adult-driven films face challenges in cinemas. But they believe strong stories still find audiences, whether in theaters or on streaming platforms. They also recognize that AI will reshape the industry, though they stress it cannot replace human emotion or creativity. Howard and Grazer use AI tools themselves, but argue that copyright protections and creators' livelihoods must be safeguarded. After 40 years, their partnership remains strong, driven by aligned taste, shared expectations, and a commitment to telling meaningful stories, no matter how the industry shifts. On the television side, Imagine has been behind some of the most memorable series of the past few decades. These include the intense thriller 24, the college drama Felicity, the animated comedy The PJs, and the cult hit Arrested Development. Howard didn't just help produce Arrested Development. He also narrated the show, giving it a distinct voice and adding to its quirky, clever humor. He even made cameo appearances as himself, showing that he can move effortlessly between being a storyteller behind the camera and a familiar face on screen. Howard's vision for Imagine extends beyond entertainment for its own sake. In 2012, it was announced that Imagine was developing Conquest for Showtime, a period drama set during the 16th century Spanish conquest of the Aztecs. Originally planned as a feature film, the project was later shifted to television after Howard and the team realized the story would be better told in a series format. While the project highlighted Howard's interest in history and epic storytelling, It also reflected Imagine's willingness to experiment and adapt, finding the best format for each story. Outside of producing and directing, Howard has occasionally appeared in pop culture in unexpected ways. In 1997, he participated in the playful Milk, Where's Your Mustache? campaign, wearing a cap representing Imagine Entertainment and sporting the iconic Milk mustache. Interestingly, some of the earlier ads showed a younger Ronnie Howard, reminding fans of his long journey from child actor to Hollywood heavyweight. More recently, in 2009, he appeared in the music video for Jamie Foxx's hit song Blame It, showing that, even as a seasoned filmmaker, Howard is not afraid to step in front of the camera for fun projects. Through Imagine Entertainment, Ron Howard has shown that storytelling isn't just about directing. It's about creating opportunities for unique voices, innovative projects, and stories that resonate with audiences across generations. Whether producing documentaries, feature films, or groundbreaking television, Howard continues to shape the industry while staying connected to the projects he's passionate about. What new stories will Ron Howard and Imagine Entertainment bring to audiences next? How will Howard continue to shape Hollywood, both behind the camera and behind the scenes? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.